Welcome back to Everyday English Podcast, where we learn real language for real life.
Today, we are going to build a relationship rescue plan for the hardest conversation you will ever have in English.
It is 8 a.m. You walk into the kitchen. Your roommate is making coffee. Last night, you yelled at them over dirty dishes. The silence in the room is incredibly loud, and you feel that sinking guilt in your stomach. What do you say?
I absolutely hate this feeling. When I feel guilty, my instinct is to just hide in my room because saying a simple, "I am sorry," feels too basic, but I do not know the natural English words to actually fix it.
By the end of this episode, you will have a step-by-step roadmap to break the ice, apologize sincerely, and save your relationships.
That is a big promise, but it is so necessary. I think apologizing in a second language is terrifying because the stakes are so high. If you use the wrong word when ordering coffee, you get the wrong coffee. If you use the wrong tone when apologizing, you might lose a friend or make your living situation completely miserable.
Exactly. And the biggest trap that English learners fall into is relying completely on the word sorry. We use sorry for everything in English. If I bump into you on the train, I say sorry. If I drop my pen, I say sorry. If I did not hear what you said, I say sorry. So when you do something genuinely hurtful, like yelling at your roommate, using that exact same word feels very cheap. It lacks weight.
That makes perfect sense. The other person hears sorry and they think, well, you say that when you drop a pen. This is much bigger than dropping a pen. I need to know that you actually understand why I am upset. I need to know you are taking accountability.
And that is exactly what we are going to teach you today. But to get started, we need to talk about that heavy, awkward feeling in the kitchen. Before you even open your mouth to apologize, your body is completely tight. Your shoulders are up near your ears, your jaw is clenched.
You are holding your breath because you are scared of their reaction. I remember once getting so mad at my older brother about leaving his shoes in the hallway. I yelled at him in the evening. The next morning, I was physically tense just walking past his bedroom door. I was tiptoeing around my own house because the atmosphere was so uncomfortable.
That physical tension in the room is what we call the ice. The room literally feels frozen. Nobody is moving naturally. Nobody is speaking freely. So the very first thing we have to do before we can repair the relationship is break the ice.
Break the ice. That means to do or say something to relieve the tension in an awkward situation, right?
Yes, when you break the ice, you melt that freezing, heavy silence so normal communication can happen again. But before we look at the exact words to break the ice, we have to fix the physical tension. Because if you walk into the kitchen with tight shoulders and a tight chest, your voice is going to sound strained. You might even sound angry when you are actually just nervous. So right now, wherever you are listening, I want you to do this with us. Take a deep breath in. Now, exhale slowly and drop your shoulders.
Wow, that actually feels incredibly different. Lowering your shoulders instantly makes your chest open up. It makes your voice sound softer and less defensive. It's a physical coping strategy. When I'm about to have a hard conversation, I actually take a walk around the block just to shake out my arms and lower my shoulders. It changes everything about my tone of voice.
It really does. Tone of voice is half of the apology. Now that our shoulders are down and we're breathing normally, we're going to listen to how a natural English apology actually sounds. We're going to listen to a short conversation between two roommates, Anna and Mark. Anna is the one who yelled last night. Let's hear what she says to break the ice and repair the damage.
Mark, do you have a second? Listen, about last night, I was completely out of line. I shouldn't have yelled at you over the dishes.
It's okay. I was just really surprised. You seemed furious.
I was, but not really at you. I was feeling incredibly stressed about a big project at work, so I just snapped at you. In the heat of the moment, I completely overreacted.
I get that. Work has been crazy for me too lately, but I'll try to be better about leaving my plates around.
Thank you, and I'll try to manage my stress better. Are we okay? I really just wanted to clear the air.
Yeah, we're good. The air is cleared. Do you want some of this coffee?
Yes, please.
That conversation sounded so much better than just a quick, mumbled apology while staring at the floor. Anna used a specific three-step sequence that you can use anytime you need to apologize. It's a mental framework you can rely on when your brain panics. Step 1 is to acknowledge what you did wrong.
And she used a brilliant phrase for this. She said, I was completely out of line. What does it mean to be out of line, Tom?
I want you to imagine a straight, white line painted on the floor. That line represents normal, acceptable, polite behavior. As long as you stay behind that line, you are being respectful. But if you step over that line, you are out of line. It means your behavior was unacceptable, inappropriate, or crossed a boundary.
I love that visual. That makes it so easy to understand. I have definitely been out of line before. When I am exhausted after a long flight, I sometimes get really impatient with customer service workers at the airport. I might roll my eyes or speak too sharply. And then 10 seconds later, I realize, wait, I am out of line. They're just doing their job. It's not their fault the plane was delayed.
Exactly. And telling someone, I was out of line is a very honest, mature way to take responsibility. You are not blaming the other person. You are not saying, well, you made me angry. You're admitting that you crossed a boundary of respect. It immediately disarms the other person.
It really does. If someone comes up to me and says, I was out of line, my immediate reaction is to forgive them because they are doing the hard work of judging their own behavior. I do not have to fight them to prove they were wrong. They already admitted it. Can you use this in a professional setting too?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic phrase for the workplace. If you interrupt a colleague during a meeting and speak over them, you can go to their desk later and say, I am sorry for interrupting you in the meeting. That was out of line. It shows high emotional intelligence. It shows you are aware of professional boundaries.
That is a great tip. So step 1 is taking accountability by saying, I was out of line. Once you do that, the other person's defenses drop. You have broken the ice. What is step 2 of our relationship rescue plan?
Step 2 is explaining why it happened without making an excuse. This is a very delicate balance. If you just make excuses, the apology is ruined. You need to explain the context of your feelings, and this is where a specific piece of English grammar becomes incredibly useful.
Oh, I noticed this in the dialogue. Anna said, I was feeling incredibly stressed about a big project at work, so I just snapped at you. She used the past continuous tense to set the scene. I was feeling stressed.
Yes, this is one of the most powerful ways to use the past continuous tense in daily life. I was feeling stressed tells us the ongoing background situation. It's the emotional weather. It was happening over a long period of time. Then she uses the simple past for the sudden, quick action. So I snapped at you.
To snap at someone. That sounds like a dog barking and biting suddenly.
That's exactly where the phrase comes from. When a dog snaps, it bites the air very quickly with its teeth. When a person snaps at you, they speak to you suddenly in an angry, aggressive, sharp way. It's quick. Snap. It usually happens when someone asks a simple question and receives a furious answer.
I see. Like if my roommate asks, did you buy milk? And I yell, obviously not. Do you see any milk? That is snapping.
Precisely. It's a sudden burst of frustration. So the grammar helps separate your background feeling from your sudden bad action. Let's look at the structure again. I was feeling worried, so I snapped. I was feeling overwhelmed, so I yelled. It shows that the background emotion caused the bad behavior, but it doesn't blame the other person.
This is so smart, because if you just say I yelled because of work, it sounds a bit like an excuse. But saying I was feeling overwhelmed, so I snapped, separates the emotion from the mistake. What makes you snap, Tom?
Honestly, being hungry.
It sounds silly, but if I miss lunch and my blood sugar drops, I become very irritable. I might snap at someone for asking me a perfectly normal question, and later I have to go back and say, I was feeling really hungry and tired, so I snapped at you. I'm sorry. What about you?
For me, it's being interrupted when I'm deeply focused. If I'm writing an email or reading a complex document and someone walks into the room and starts talking to me loudly, I will sometimes snap at them to be quiet. It's a reflex. I don't mean to be rude, but my brain gets frustrated by the interruption. And Anna used another amazing phrase right after that in the dialogue. She said, "In the heat of the moment, I completely overreacted."
The heat of the moment. This is one of the most natural, native-sounding idioms you can learn, and it connects perfectly to what we talked about earlier with physical tension. When you're in an argument, your body literally feels hot. Your heart is racing, adrenaline is pumping, your face might actually feel warm.
It's true, your body temperature rises. So when you do something in the heat of the moment, it means you did it without thinking clearly because you were temporarily blinded by strong, hot emotions. You weren't thinking logically, you were just reacting to the heat.
Have you ever done something in the heat of the moment that you immediately regretted?
Oh, definitely. I am a huge sports fan, and in the heat of the moment during a football game, when the referee made a terrible decision, I threw my favorite hat on the ground and yelled at the television. I actually stepped on my own hat and ruined it. It felt very important right then, but 5 minutes later, when my heart rate slowed down, I realized I completely overreacted.
That is the perfect word for it. To overreact means your reaction was way too big for the situation. It is out of proportion. Yelling about dirty dishes is an overreaction. The dishes are a small problem, maybe a level 2 problem, but the yelling is a huge reaction, a level 9 reaction.
That makes sense. By saying I overreacted in the heat of the moment, you are validating the other person's feelings. You are telling them you are right to be surprised or hurt because my anger was way too big for the situation. It is such a comforting thing to hear when someone has yelled at you.
It really is. It tells the other person that they are not crazy. They did not deserve that level of anger.
If you are finding this step-by-step approach to English useful, make sure you subscribe to the podcast right now. We create these deep dive conversational lessons every single week so you can handle real-life relationships, workplace problems, and daily challenges with complete confidence. Hitting subscribe is the best way to make sure you never miss a roadmap like this one.
Now, let us move to the final step of the apology. Step 3, the repair. You have acknowledged your mistake by saying you were out of line. You have explained your stress without making excuses. Now you need to actually fix the relationship and bring peace back to the room.
In the dialogue, Anna asked, "Are we okay? I really just wanted to clear the air." What exactly is she clearing?
Think back to the beginning of the episode when we talked about the heavy, awkward tension in the room, the ice. When you clear the air, you are removing all of those bad feelings, doubts, and silent resentments between two people.
Like opening a window in a stuffy room?
Exactly like that. Imagine you cook fish in your kitchen. The next morning, the air still smells like fish. It is unpleasant. You have to open all the windows and let the fresh breeze blow through to clear the air. Emotional tension is exactly the same. When you have a fight, the emotional atmosphere becomes dirty and heavy. When you clear the air, you are making the emotional atmosphere clean and fresh again.
I love that visual. When the air is thick with tension, it is physically hard to breathe. Once you clear the air, you can relax again. I actually use this phrase with my friends all the time. If we have a disagreement or a misunderstanding, I cannot sleep until we talk it out. I'll send them a text message and say, "Can we grab a coffee tomorrow? I just want to clear the air." It's a very safe text to send.
Why do you think it is safe?
Because it tells them that I am not looking for another fight. I am not trying to prove that I am right. I am literally just asking to bring fresh air back into the friendship. It invites the other person to forgive you and move forward together as a team. It's a very collaborative phrase.
That is a wonderful way to explain it. Clear the air is collaborative. You cannot clear the air by yourself. You need the other person to open their window too. So let us review our entire 3-step roadmap.
Acknowledge, explain, repair.
I was out of line. I was feeling stressed, so I snapped. I want to clear the air. It is so logical. Knowing the words is amazing, but knowing them is only half the battle. Delivering them naturally is the other half. Because if I stomp into the kitchen, cross my arms, and shout, "I was out of line," it still sounds incredibly aggressive.
You are completely right. The words alone will not save you if your delivery is wrong. That's why it's time to build your fluency. We are going to do a physical practice exercise right now to lock this into your muscle memory.
This is the most important part of the episode, so wherever you are listening right now, unless you are driving or riding a bicycle, I want you to physically prepare your body. Remember what we did earlier. Take a slow breath in. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench the jaw.
Now, imagine you are standing in that kitchen. Your roommate is looking at you, holding their coffee mug. The room is silent. You need to take responsibility. We're going to say the phrases together. I want you to lower the pitch of your voice slightly. A lower pitch sounds calm, grounded, and sincere. A high pitch sounds defensive and panicked. Ready? Repeat after me out loud. I was out of line last night.
I was out of line last night.
Great. Keep your shoulders down. Now let's practice the explanation using our past continuous and simple past grammar. Remember to keep the tone soft. Repeat after me. I was feeling stressed, so I snapped.
I was feeling stressed, so I snapped.
Perfect. Notice how we are not rushing. We are taking our time. Finally, the repair. You want to bring peace back to the room. Use a warm, inviting tone. Repeat after me. I just want to clear the air.
I just want to clear the air.
Excellent job. How did that feel, Sarah?
It felt completely different. Notice how your body feels when you say those phrases slowly and calmly. It completely changes the dynamic of the conversation. Going through this exercise makes me realize how much we try to avoid these hard conversations just because we do not have a script.
It is human nature to avoid pain. We avoid apologizing because the awkwardness is painful. But having this formula takes so much of the panic away. You do not have to invent a long, poetic, emotional speech. You do not have to translate complicated thoughts from your native language while your heart is beating fast. You just have to be honest and use these simple building blocks.
It is true. The simple approach is always the most effective. But we also have to remember that everybody handles conflict a little bit differently. Even if you deliver the perfect apology, the other person might not be ready to accept it immediately.
Absolutely. Timing is just as important as the words you use. Like you said earlier, Sarah, you are the kind of person who cannot sleep if there is an unresolved argument. You always want to clear the air immediately.
I do. The tension makes me too anxious. I want to fix it within 5 minutes, but my partner is the exact opposite. If we have an argument, they need a full 24 hours of quiet time to cool down before they can even look at me. If I try to force them to clear the air too quickly, it just makes them more frustrated. I have had to learn to say my apology and then physically walk away and give them space.
That is such an important point. You can say, I was out of line, but you cannot demand that they forgive you instantly. Sometimes the best repair is giving someone the gift of time. Which brings us to our question for you today.
We want to know about your personal conflict style. Are you someone who likes to clear the air immediately after an argument? Or do you need time to cool down first? Use the phrases we learned today and tell us your answer down in the comments below. I read every single one, and it's endlessly fascinating to see how different cultures, personalities, and families handle conflict.
The next time you lose your temper, I challenge you to skip the basic, cheap, I'm sorry, and try using the phrase, I was out of line, to take real accountability. Keep practicing, keep dropping your shoulders, and we'll see you in the next lesson.